Broadcasting from Charlotte, North Carolina, the Queen City, this is On the Air with Deplorable Pride. Tune in at ontheairwithdeplorablepride.org every Wednesday, a conservative LGBT talk show. We are your voice. Here's your host, Brian Talbert and Chris O'Shea.
That's right. Welcome to episode 2 of On the Air with Deplorable Pride. Today is August 22nd, 2018. I'm Chris O'Shea here with Brian Talbert. Brian, how you doing?
Great. How are you?
Doing good. I'm excited to get this episode started. It's our second episode, and this is coming off of the big Charlotte Pride protest, which is really where this all began. This year, what you heard at the beginning of this episode was the chants that the Red Guards and Antifa chanted as they marched into Romare Bearden Park to confront us and try and stop us or whatever they were trying to do before we even marched up to the parade. That was about an hour or so before we had intended to march up to the parade. We saw a small crowd, maybe a half a dozen people wearing red hammer and sickle masks over their faces, carrying the hammer and sickle flag, and chanting various chants they've written for you. So you've got to be honored by that, huh?
Well, I am. I mean, I'm proud to stand on the opposite side of these people. They're, in my opinion, these are domestic terrorists. What their beef is with me personally, I don't know, other than the fact that I don't back down to them. I call them out. I refuse to. I'm not afraid of these people. You've shown that you're not afraid of them either. And it's like these mask issues with these people. That's the only thing that gives them the courage to come out here and do what they do. But they're just against anybody. They're against the police. We have pictures of them putting the middle finger up to the police, calling them pigs. Calling us fascist, calling us racist, and it's all stemming from their hate from Donald Trump. That's all it is, and that's what drives them. And but they're against Democrats as well. They're against everybody.
It seems that they're against America. That's really the kind of the crux of the problem is that
they proudly fly the hammer and sickle flag.
Yeah, and I don't know how much they actually believe it, or if it's just something where they're trying to fit in or be cool, or I don't know what it is. I think that with characters like Harry Potter, who is one of the younger members of this group that we've seen at different events, and he's a
useful idiot. That's what he is.
Well, and it's sad, but it's true because he's actually willing to have conversation, and he just seems very confused. He or she, actually, we should.
That's why That's why I said Deplorable Pride is proud to stand against these people because they do hijack the youth of the LGBT community. They have for a long time, ever since their existence here. They take these youths that are in vulnerable situations when they're looking for acceptance, love. Some of them, their home families have kicked them out, disowned them. They're looking for a pack. They're looking for someone to just like them that will understand what they're going through. And I was there. I know firsthand exactly what that can lead you down to. It leads a lot of young youth, gay youth, to suicide. It leads a lot of gay youth to drug abuse. It leads a lot of gay youth to Antifa. And this is a pattern that has got to be stopped. And a lot of that is going to rely on, like, say, the Republican Party coming out and showing support for the LGBT community and showing that they actually care to give these young youth another alternative than what they're just seeing. I mean, as of now, to find some acceptance, they've got limited choices. It's either a gay bar, it's the Democrat Party, or it's Antifa, basically.
Yeah. And I think with this particular character that we've affectionately named Harry Potter because he's a young individual that bears a striking resemblance to Harry Potter. I'm conflicted because he is the pronoun that I think in 2015 and before it wouldn't have been really a question, but in talking with this person at the Pride Parade, they had on their arms written in marker, and you can go back and you can go to the deplorablepride.org Facebook page and watch the videos. One of our guys actually had a pretty good conversation with them, but on Harry Potter's forearm in marker was written she/her, which I understand to mean that this individual wants to be referred to as the feminine, as a woman. So I'm sure that whatever this person's going through, it's probably a lot for a young person to go through. Whether it's confusion, whether it's identity crisis, whether it is legitimate, I'm not sure what the term is, but in the sake of trying to be somewhat respectful, because this person is at least willing to talk, and I have to give them a lot of credit because they're young and they're willing to talk.
You also have to look at,
The same can't be said for Bush Wookie and the other characters that
just like those two guys. They were not. Harry Potter wasn't interested in having any conversation with our group after his leaders walked away. Basically, they lost interest in what he was saying. I think he was, this is my honest opinion, I don't think that this dude is that far lost that it's not worth the try to help him and enlighten him on things. I don't see that as being the issue right now, but I do see it as an issue that he was there talking to impress those two guys. And once they walked away, you see it. As soon as they walked away, he had no interest in standing there continuing this conversation. If he did, he would have stayed there long after they had left. But, it was almost immediate. And you can see that the proof of that is on the video.
This is true. At the RNC rally that we did outside of Charlotte City Hall last month, when the city council was voting whether or not to place a bid for the RNC being hosted here in Charlotte, which eventually they did agree to, Harry Potter had a conversation with another one of our supporters, and it was that was the first time that we really had an interaction with them. You can go back and there's video of that, which I posted on the deplorablepride.org Facebook page as well.
Did you notice one other thing similar to this gay pride thing with him is that in that case, at the RNC thing, it was the older black man that was calling the shots there. And once he walked away, Harry Potter and his friends walked away. They came for one purpose, and they stayed until they were told to go. And they all left. You saw they all left together. So that's an important element that does not need to be overlooked when it comes to, because this guy, in my opinion, even though he is probably savable, he's also a danger because he is willing to listen to whatever is being told to him. And I do believe he's willing to carry it out. Look at the pictures of him in the park when he's coming across. He looks like this little innocent little guy, but coming through the park, he had on his tear gas mask. He had his face covered. He looked like he was very well prepared for battle. So this dude knows exactly what's going on. He knows exactly what he's doing. His reasons as to why he is doing it, he may be confused at that, but he knows exactly what he's carrying out. He would have no issue hitting one of us. I honestly believe that. He's already shown that he will try to destroy property. He tried to do that at the RNC rally in Uptown Charlotte. Next step is violence.
That's true. Like you said, I think that it is worth at least trying to see if we can save this person, bring them onto the right side of things. I tried after he had the conversation with Jay about respect and the masks, and they had a conversation for a few minutes. He had walked away, like you said, and I went after him and I just introduced myself. I said, "Hey, my name is Chris. I figure we're going to be seeing each other out here, so I might as well let you introduce myself, and we can get to know each other or something." He wasn't really interested. He was like, "I respect you, but I'm not interested, so whatever." But we can maybe chip away at it and just through our actions and through the way that we treat him.
He's a big one-item voter. I don't even know if he's old enough to vote, but he's he's going to become a one-item voter. Everything about him, when he was talking about his criticism of Trump and everything had a gay issue to it. There was actually nothing unselfish about what he was saying. Look, if he does identify as a her, she, it's fine. But they look at the percentage of them. They're like 0.04% of the total population. And, even the ones that will not even commit to having a sex change is even lower than that. So, he's young. He may 20 years from now, he's going to identify as a he is or whatever. We cannot 0.04% of the population cannot dictate our policy for 370 million people.
Yeah, and you had an interesting interaction with someone who apparently you have a history with, over decades even.
Janice Covington.
That's the one. I turned around and
the militant transsexual is what she's known as.
On the little hover around scooter, going back and forth behind the bike rack thing.
Yeah, she wanted to. I mean, she's a typical liberal LGBT person. She wants to come out there, scream what she believes, and if you don't accept it, you're a bigot, a racist, a transphobic, whatever. But I've known Janice Covington for a long time. She's always been a bitter, evil bitch, and she always will be a bitter, evil bitch. That wheelchair did not cause that or stop that. And just like this one guy, which I'm still pretty sure he's part of Antifa somehow, telling me, cussing at me for cussing at a woman in a wheelchair, but he, had no problem. You can even hear him say it on camera. That I said, she yelled at me first, and he's like, I don't care. She's in a wheelchair. Like that wheelchair somehow gives her empowerment to be rude and talk crap to other people. I treat everyone equally, and regardless of whether she's in a wheelchair, she's a bitch and she needed to be called one.
And it's funny because you are, to be fair, and I guess it's similar to Donald Trump, you are one of the most fair people that I know. You treat everyone exactly equally. It doesn't matter anything. You're going to get the same treatment from Brian Talbert. If you respect Brian, you get respect from Brian. If you're unreasonably argumentative or you attack Brian, you're going to get attacked. It doesn't matter if you're in a wheelchair, if you're gay, if you're straight, if you're black, white, whatever. So it is interesting that, and maybe you can give me a little bit more insight because you've obviously been in this community a lot longer and you know people, a lot more people than I do. It seems that they do want special treatment. They don't want equal treatment. They want special rights, special treatment.
Yes, like I called her out. Her big issue with me now, we at one point we actually, I don't really consider us to have ever been friends, but we were acquaintances. We saw each other. We were civil, everything, but her big issue with me now is my support for Donald Trump's trans ban. But she doesn't want to realize that,
and we should point out that she is former military, I believe. She worked with the fire department.
Yeah.
Did a little bit of research afterwards.
Yeah.
But she was one of the big characters in the whole HB2 controversy with the bathroom ban.
Yeah. She was part of the gang looking for a solution, looking for a problem to a solution, or vice versa, whatever. But she's always been very militant. She's recently got into politics. And like I said, that's where she had a big issue with me over the transgender ban. But she doesn't want to follow the exact same rules as what every other American would have to follow in order to join the military. It's like she knows it. I know it. I know how much medicines and that a person has to take to alter their sex. And no other American would be allowed to enter into the military taking that amount of meds. And we want to be considered equal. That's what I thought our fight was about, was equality. And for us to achieve true equality, we've got to follow the same laws, guidelines, and everything as every other American. Otherwise, you're wanting special treatment.
Well, let me ask you this, Brian. Your thoughts on the transgender ban, I understand. What about after someone goes through that? And I don't know anything about that whole process.
I fully support a person after they've made the transition. I fully support them the right to enter into the military. I fully support them being recognized as that sex that they have chosen. And I think that we might need stronger laws to make sure that does be carried out. That a person is respected as a woman or a man or whatever sex it was that they were choosing. But during that transition, it's just like our soldiers. Our nation's safety is never in a transition period, and neither should our soldiers be. And that's exactly the bottom line. Our military is not a social experiment. I don't want it to be a social experiment. If anything, if there's evidence out there that shows that this will not work, just go to a gay bar. Use that as a social experiment. Okay. And you will see that if our military ran like that, then we're screwed.
Yeah. I think that is an important detail to add in is your support after the transition. I think that people might overlook that or might not realize that, and they may jump to conclusions based on your support for the transgender ban.
I mean, I've always been open about that. I've always been open that they should be recognized as the sex that they have chosen once they have completed the operation. And I also support 100% that they should be allowed to enter into the military. But there again, should follow the exact same guidelines and rules. If you wait till you're 50 to try to enter into the military, while you're trying to have you've gone past the age guideline. You know what I mean? You got to still follow all the same rules, but after they do that, they follow the same rules. They're still within the requirements. I 100% support them.
So we've talked about the transgender issue and how it kind of relates back to even to Harry Potter as a character. And everyone can go to Deplorable Pride's Facebook page and watch these videos to get to know the characters that we're referring to as Bush Wookie and Harry Potter. What I noticed in talking with other people at the parade when we were trying to hand out flyers, people were taking pictures of us, people were giving us weird, confused looks, and we had flyers printed up that explained, first of all, why someone in the LGBT community should support Donald Trump, and all the things that he's done for the LGBT community or that benefit the LGBT community. And not even specifically, but just, what's good for all Americans is good for LGBT Americans. But it also gave, on the backside of the flyer, it explained why we were there in the first place, which I think many people weren't aware of the situation with you being banned from the Charlotte Pride Parade because of your support for Donald Trump. But very few people actually wanted to take the information and read it. They didn't want to talk. They didn't want to look at the information. They just said, "Oh, if you're wearing a MAGA hat or you're holding a Trump sign, so you're automatically I want nothing to do with you. You're a disgusting human being." That kind of stuff, and it shows the closed-mindedness of a lot of these people that they have.
Especially from the gay community, supposed to be tolerant, accepting, and inclusive. For them to be as this closed-minded about something so petty as someone's political party just shows how self-absorbed and narcissistic and wanting of special rights that this community is wanting.
And to the icing on the cake is that they want the straight community. They want everyone else to identify them as the gender or the pronoun or Zim, Zer. I mean, there's some weird stuff that, that's the extreme LGBT community.
And we are an LGBT organization, and we will only recognize male, female, and that is it. Where there is no experiment with that. God made you male or female. I believe that's personally my opinion on the issue, but if someone wants to change their sex, that's fine. But there's only two options.
I was listening to Rush Limbaugh the other day, and he was talking about the LGBT community in, I guess it's some sort of a safe sex guide, and I can look into it more and we can talk about it maybe another time, but they're actually pushing, and again, it's not the whole community, it's probably a radical segment of it. They're pushing to no longer even use the biological terms for the different parts of the body.
I've heard a whole one, front hole or back hole. That's a bunch of bullshit.
If the LGBT community wants to be accepted and respected by the rest of America, I think that doing that kind of stuff is just going to turn people off and make them think that you're crazy.
It reminds me of a snake that eats itself. You know what I'm talking about?
The LGBT community is destroying itself with this kind of stuff.
They're in the process. They've already swallowed their tail. They've already swallowed their back hole, and they're enjoying the taste so much that they're eating themselves alive. And that is exactly what's going to happen with the LGBT community in the end.
Well, going forward, what do you think we should expect next year? Are we going to apply for a float in the parade? Or are we going to apply for a booth? We're pretty far out, but what are you thinking going forward
I didn't start this fight, ended on year 3. I'm going to apply for a float again. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be denied again. I'm going to be right back at the square again, and I'm going to be calling them all hypocritical bigots, and I'll do that for the next 6.5 years of Donald Trump, and I'll do that many more years after Donald Trump. My right to exist does not depend on the presidency. My right to exist depends on me. And, for this community to sit back, claim, like I said, tolerance, acceptance, inclusion, but can't even accept a segment of their population that, like us, they need to be called out for it. And I'm planning. I'm in this fight to the end, and I'm not going to stop until I have a float in that parade. And it's going to be to represent our right as LGBTQ conservatives, our right to exist.
Now, talking about inclusivity and diversity, a lot of our support this weekend and last year at the protest we did the first time around came from straight Republicans that you wouldn't necessarily even, like, if you saw them on the street, you wouldn't expect them to come to your defense, to come stand with LGBT Trump supporters, conservatives in support, especially in a hostile environment like a gay pride parade, where you not only have the extreme LGBT community who's shouting stuff and acting in ways that's meant to provoke and upset some of the people who are there with us.
Just go ahead and call it like it is, trash.
Yeah, and these people stood up to with us, knowing that Antifa, knowing that the Red Guards were planning to come and try and shut us down.
The same people that the liberal LGBT community says are the ones that hate them, the ones that want them silenced, the ones that want them put on a remote island somewhere. These are the same people that came to defend rights of LGBT conservatives, but they're defending them against the liberal LGBT community. Another reason to call them out for being hypocrite.
Now, we did have a lot of support from people who were on our side, but at the same time, you and I have had conversations in the past about the fact that a lot of Republicans, and I'm just going to use the term Republican because I think that there is a minor distinction between Trump people and Republican people. A lot of the Republicans say that they want to build that bridge between the LGBT community, but when it comes time to actually come out and support us, they sort of drop off the face of the earth.
Well, it's like with like with the MEC GOP. I had, they knew our situation and everything. It's not like they had, they've gone to the defense of other people that were, discriminated against for being Trump supporters or being Republican. And they knew our situation.
About the Starbucks sit-in specifically.
Yeah.
That was the first
that
one
also with Dimple Ashmira, when she made her comment, they came together for
very Trump.
Yeah. And, but I've listened for now almost 2 years from the local Mecklenburg party here on how they want to build a bridge with the LGBT community. They want to improve the image of the Republican Party with the LGBT community, but they never want to take one step toward that. You know as well as I do, we have laid out many opportunities in this past 2 years for these people to come and try to show that they actually wanted, the people of their word. I didn't force them to say, I want to build a bridge with your community. They came to me and said this, but they never want to deliver on the promise. And that's why they need to be caught out. Like we said earlier, I treat everyone equally. And if you're trying to screw us over and it doesn't matter whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, I'll call you out as a Republican as well. I posted, this is something interesting. I posted earlier posted a poll on Deplorable Pride's page and asked for opinions on whether Deplorable Pride should hold a rally outside of the MEC GOP to call them out for their lack of support for LGBT conservatives who are being discriminated here in Charlotte. And right now, as of now, the poll sits at 93% for yes, 7% for no. We have 26 votes for yes and only 2 votes for no. That tells you something right there, because I can assure you the majority of the people that are voting in this poll are Republicans.
Yeah. And it's frustrating because it's not just a matter, and tell me if I'm wrong, but I think that it's not just a matter of them coming to one particular event. It's about communicating with us. And I think there has been a lack of communication. We've tried multiple times to try and get them involved in the discussion to figure out ways we can work together. Yeah. Our groups, Carolinas for Trump, Deplorable Pride, we would love to work with the GOP, the Republican Party. I'm not a Republican. That's why I don't.
But let's be honest. Here's another thing that can't be overlooked. I mean, we've sat down with them and actually had talks and stuff, but they like for you to do the work that they need from you first. And then when you do that, but they never come across with their promise. So they're into of any type of a deal. We were promised in 2017 that we were going to be not as in a official capacity, but we were going to be brought into the MEC GOP under their umbrella. So one, it would make we would be have access to things that we normally wouldn't have access to being out here on our own. That's something that they suggested to us, and we were excited about that. Has that happened after almost 2 years now? No, it hasn't. They have delivered on one single thing, and we've gone out there and we knocked on doors. We've worked at the election, the day of the election, standing out in the rain. We've knocked on doors. We've handed out flyers. We've held protests. We've held cookouts. They've not come through with one thing that they promised, and now it's the time they need to be called out. I mean,
why do you think that is, Brian?
I think it's the LGBT issue. I think they want to be seen as being supportive of LGBT, but when it gets down to it, they don't want to do a damn thing to do anything toward that.
You think they're embarrassed? You think it's just the stigma or something?
I think a lot of it has to do with the elitism of the Republican Party. Because you can get the Republicans out to a $500 a plate fundraiser. You can get them all there for something that the average American cannot do. I mean, we've got issues in this country, but it's more important for you to throw a $500 a plate fundraiser for a person that's getting millions of dollars already in campaign contributions. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's like it is an image problem that we have with the Republican Party. We're seen as we're going to support you and we're going to invite you, and you're always going to be a part of something if you're rich. And it's getting wrong. It's getting disgusting, and it's getting to a point that I'm a proud Republican, and I'm going to do whatever I can to improve the image of my party. But and if it takes calling out these Republicans who think they're better and they sit on a higher stool than the rest of us, they need to be called out. I am just like me. I'm an average person living in Albemarle, North Carolina. Okay, there is no one at the MEC GOP any better than myself, but I can't afford to go to their little events because I can't afford a $500. I'd much rather spend, I would much rather spend the $500 on, like we did with the two anti-gay crimes that were committed here. I'd much rather use my $500 to find the person who actually committed those crimes. Those where I think we need our money spent instead of, what are we going to play $500 for this so we can give it to a millionaire who's running for office? Is ridiculous. We need to start getting people that are average people,
I think that's what our groups are doing, though. I think that just like Donald Trump doesn't fit the typical Republican mold and he kind of crashed the party and took it over, it's up to people like you and me and organizers across the country to kind of take it back and make it the Trump Republican Party.
There's a silent majority.
A silent majority, indeed. So I think that you and I, we have a long road ahead of us. We've got a lot of work that needs to be done.
A lot of people to piss off.
I think that's the collateral damage. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. And that's fine because, when I look at our mailing lists and people unsubscribe, I don't look at it as a bad thing. I look at it as people who are not really aligned with what we see.
Get out of the way to make room for someone who can.
Exactly. So coming up in the next couple of months, we've got a busy few months because the November 6th election is coming up quick. And I know that our groups are working on coordinating with volunteers to deliver voter registrations to likely Trump supporter voters who are not registered. We're also going to be helping the GOP because we can put our differences aside, and we're doing this for MAGA, we're doing this for Trump, but we need volunteers, and we're going to be recruiting volunteers for door knocking and phone banking because, like it or not, that stuff does make a difference. So we're going to be doing that. We're going to be doing the roadside rallies, and I think that's where we really shine, is doing the stuff where we're meeting people where they're at. We're going on the busy intersections, the busy street sides, and holding the signs, waving the flags, and delivering the message to people passing by.
See, that's
who are
something
voters.
That's something that the local Mecklenburg Republican Party needs to be out here helping us with as well. Because
no, we don't need them though.
I'm just saying they should be out there helping us. What I'm saying, because we have proof that we pull people in off the streets. We have proof that people walk up to us and as total strangers walk up to us wanting to see how to get involved and stuff. That is, just like at the Gay Pride Parade. You saw the Democrats out there at the parade. You saw them in full force. They have 100% taken over the Charlotte Pride Parade. And it's like the GOP here has just surrendered and said they can have that large voting block of the city. There wasn't just gay people at that Gay Pride Parade. There was a lot of straight voters that were out there as well. And for the Mecklenburg County GOP to sit back and already have surrendered to that is disgusting. And it shows, that lack of interest, that lack of wanting to get involved with that. If they do it to that segment of the community, they're doing it in others. And that shows why they have been losing elections.
And I think that's a really good point to bring up, is the fact that we're not just trying to bring people who are, who fall under that umbrella of LGBT themselves, but people whose family, people who have friends, people who, just as a matter of principle, believe that the LGBT community deserves equal treatment, rights, etc. So
you don't have to condone the lifestyle.
Just the LGBT community.
Yeah, you don't have to condone the lifestyle. You just got to respect the Constitution that LGBT people have a right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, just like everyone else. And your personal opinion on the subject is valid and taken, but under the Constitution, that's what we follow. And it's just, it amazes me that there was absolutely no GOP presence out at this Pride Parade. We know we're not going to get a float in it, but the GOP could be out there handing out flyers to have people signing up to registering people to vote. But they claimed 160,000 numbers this year at the festival. I do believe it was down from that. I don't think it was that high, but regardless, that is a large amount of people in one section that the GOP just basically just tossed away.
Yeah, without even making an effort, which is
not
sad.
Even one effort.
But as far as our efforts going forward, as we wrap things up on this second episode of On the Air with Deplorable Pride, we're going to be doing roadside rallies in the weeks leading up to the election. And I would like to put it out there for people, because I know we have a large audience that's beyond North Carolina and South Carolina. We've got, your Deplorable Pride page has, hundreds and hundreds. I mean, what are we at? 1,400 or so people.
Right now we're at 1,675.
1,675. So we got 1,600 plus people throughout the United States who believe in the same things that you and I believe in, and are pro-Trump, who want to make a difference and are fed up with the lack of support from the Republican Party. They want to get involved and they want to make a difference. So for anyone that's outside of North or South Carolina and you want to get involved and help out, email us at contactdeplorablepride@gmail.com or carolinasfortrump@gmail.com. And we can help you get going with your own roadside rally wherever you're at. It's awesome. Fairly easy to put together. It doesn't cost very much. And it's very rewarding because, like Brian said, it attracts a lot of people that want to get involved, but they don't know how. They didn't know that they could, do something to make a difference, and they see you out there doing something to make a difference, and they want to be in it as well.
Also, here's another important thing that, I know a lot of people are there for us in spirit, and I believe them. I honestly do.
We get that a lot whenever we
invite
sometimes,
people. But sometimes that just doesn't translate into us getting any action done. So, if people are out there and they want to help and they just can't they're not in the area, or, they're so far away or something, or it's just not their thing. Helping us out with other things would really go a long way. I hate asking for donations or anything, but this is getting very expensive, and as of now, just coming straight out of my pocket. But it's something that is very important that needs to be done. So we get out there and we do it. We basically are spending money we don't have. But if people want to help, that is another important way that people can help is by donating a little bit, $5, $10. That goes a long way when we're out here buying,
flags,
poster
the materials
board,
for
flags,
signs.
getting water to provide to people that come, renting spaces, stuff like that.
Yeah, we're looking at a rally before the election that we're looking at least $600 to put this thing on, and that's before we even hear back from the town.
Just $3 or $4, $5. That adds up. Enough people do it. That small contribution could really be a major difference in what we can actually do. And we
Absolutely.
are, the one thing that the people can take away from this and know that their donation is going to a good cause is because they see the history. They know that we are willing to get out here and do this. And, there's nothing that we're afraid of to actually get out here and do. So they know that they can get their money's worth, and pay a little bit, donate a little bit of money, you're going to get a lot more in activism back out of it. And I promise you that
you can see the videos on the Facebook page.
Yeah, we're not afraid to go up there. We're not, regardless of what's standing in front of us, we're going to go and we're going to be visual, vocal, and vigilant for the MAGA agenda.
And if people do want to donate, they can do that by visiting www.deplorablepride.org. There's a link at the top of the page where you can donate if you just want to make a donation. It can be a recurring donation, which we encourage. If you can do a little bit every month, that's going to keep fueling this MAGA revolution here in the Carolinas and beyond. You can also go to deplorablepride.org, and there's a link where we sell merchandise. We've got T-shirts, flags, and other stuff with Deplorable Pride,
and hopefully in a couple of days. Hopefully in a couple of days, we're going to have the official Deplorable Pride flags.
I checked the shipping. It should be at your house today, I believe.
Oh, really? Okay. Mm-hmm. I'm so excited because the first one's going up in my front yard.
That's going to be awesome. So check us out, deplorablepride.org. You can learn more about what we do. You can see how you can get involved. You can donate to help fund the revolution. You can buy merchandise to support us. And like I said, if you're in any part of the country and you want to get involved in some way, but you don't know where to start, get in touch with us. You can find me on Facebook, Chris O'Shea. You can find Brian on Facebook, Brian Talbert. You can find us, deplorablepride.org, Carolinas for Trump, and we will help you. We'll put you in contact with whoever we need to. We'll walk you through step by step how you can organize something in your area, and we'll make sure you're able to be successful.
Yeah. If you're local, like as far as North or South Carolina, and we want to branch out and do something outside of Charlotte as well, because it's not only do we have where we're trying to turn Charlotte red, we're also trying to keep North Carolina red. So we're willing to come out in North and South Carolina. Like I said, there again, it takes money. That's where your donations can help. We can. It would be nothing for us to get in a car with some people and come and join you in Wilmington, Raleigh, Greensboro, Winston-Salem, Asheville, to come and do these things in your city. And, with your donations, that makes that possible. I'm ready to get out. I'd love to stand in front of the state capitol and Raleigh, or in front of the governor's mansion and to protest that idiot of a governor that we have. But like I said, stuff like that takes money that we don't have. But if you're willing to do that, want to hold something in your area here in South Carolina, get in touch with us and we can work with y'all and see if we can't get something planned. Roadside rallies are definitely something that is it brings a lot of fellowship of MAGA people. You're not only out there supporting your president, your country, but you finally get to hang out with other MAGA people and have a good time. I had the last roadside rally we had, I had a blast, and it's a lot of fun. So it's something that that's a good first stepping stone for people that want to get involved with stuff like that. It's a little less aggressive and everything. So it's like
it's lighthearted and fun.
Something for someone to stick their toe in for the first time. That's a great way to actually do it.
Yeah, we guarantee you have a good time at one of our roadside rallies, and I guarantee that if you host something like that in your city, you're going to have a blast. People are going to have a blast. And you may start off with just a couple of people. That's how we began. And it's going to snowball. And before you know it, you're going to have 10, 15, 20, 30 people or more showing up. Mm-hmm. And you can do it as often as you want. and people are going to show up. You're going to pick up new supporters. People are going to pull over. They're going to want more information. They're going to want to get involved next time. And then from there, you can take those people and say, hey, we're going to be doing this. We're going to be delivering voter registrations. We're going to be knocking on doors. The GOP needs help with phone banking. And guess what? A percentage of those people you pick up from the roadside rallies are going to end up being the most loyal and diehard supporters that you can get to help out whenever you need it. So I think this is a good place to end.
I want to say one thing before, because this is a very, very big feather in my cap, I think. But because of deplorable pride, Charlotte Antifa or the Red Guards will no longer be allowed to wear masks at any demonstration or protest in this city ever again. We got confirmation by the police. We're going to be following the exact same statutes, laws, and ordinances that they're going to have to start being. Now it's a fair playing field. So I just want any Antifa or any Charlotte Red Guard that is listening to the sound of my voice. We are the reason we are going to see your faces now.
And that's a good thing, because if they don't believe in it enough to really stand up and
I just said
represent
what them off. I know that pisses them off. They can't stand me, and I love it.
I would never imagine you to say something just to piss someone off.
I'll kiss my
That's so unlike you. All right, guys, thanks for listening. This is our second episode. Tune in next week. We're going to be back on Wednesday with our third episode of On the Air with Deplorable Pride. Until then, I'm Chris O'Shea with CarolinesForTrump.us.
And I'm Brian Talbert. I want to thank you all for all your support.
DeplorablePride.org, on the air with DeplorablePride.org is the website. You can go straight to our Spreaker channel where you can listen to this podcast each and every week. Subscribe, find us on Facebook, like us, join our groups, and we will see you out there in the streets.
MAGA.